This is a stimulus update. In this video, we'll talk about the latest news regarding a second stimulus check, current stimulus news, and who's eligible for the $1,500 in rental assistance and $1,200 in hazard pay programs. I hope you're having a great day so far. Let's get right into it. So last night, the House passed a post office relief bill. This is no surprise considering that the Democrats have the majority in the House of Representatives. Therefore, anything they decide to pass, they can do it, just like with the HEROES Act. But the surprising part is that it was a 257 to 150 vote, and 26 Republicans actually voted in favor of this bill. So the bill is called the Delivering for America Act, and it gives the post office $25 billion in funding, requires election mail to be handled as first-class deliveries, reverses any operational changes that were made this year, and prevents any changes to happen until after the coronavirus emergency is over. President Trump tweeted about this. It's a long tweet, but basically to sum it up, he says representatives of the post office have repeatedly stated that they do not need money and will not make changes. This is all another hoax by the Democrats to give $25 billion unneeded dollars for political purposes. Let me know what you think about this bill down in the comments below. Was this necessary to pass $25 billion for the U.S. Postal Service or not? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Now, the chances of this bill becoming a law is very slim. The reason why is because the Senate would have to vote on it, and the Senate has a majority of Republicans. Republicans are not for this bill. Therefore, it might have been a waste of time for the House to get together and try to pass this bill, considering that it doesn't have any elements that the Republicans like. Another issue with this bill is that it is a piecemeal bill, which is very hypocritical of Nancy Pelosi, saying that she doesn't want to do anything piecemeal and wants to have the stimulus package as a whole pass. They could have used this opportunity of the House coming back from their 1-month vacation to pass second stimulus checks, unemployment insurance, eviction moratoriums, among many other important issues. With 28 million Americans that are unemployed, around 40 million Americans on the brink of eviction, and millions of families and children that are starving, they use this opportunity to pass something in regards to re-election, to make sure that their jobs were secure, not to help the American people. Now, rarely do I agree with Mitch McConnell, but he pointed out this same hypocrisy by Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, saying that they don't want to piecemeal anything, but yet they did piecemeal. So more specifically, Mitch McConnell says, Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House Democrats have spent weeks ignoring the urgent needs of American workers and families, but they rushed back to Washington the instant that overblown conspiracy theories about the United States Postal Service convinced them their own jobs might be at jeopardy. He actually said this perfectly, because the biggest takeaway here is that they ignored the needs of American workers and families and then rushed back to Washington, D.C., not to pass a stimulus check or a stimulus package or unemployment insurance or anything that could directly affect the Americans, but they passed something that is just in regards to the election coming up. This was a bad move by the Democrats because it shows what their true priorities are. They care more about re-election than they do about helping out the American people. So yesterday's video, I asked my subscribers what you thought about how politicians are handling the current situation with so many struggling Americans. Emmeline Lee said, "We need new blood, fire them all. We need to replace the Congress and Senate, balance them out." Veronica Dufresne says, "Personally, I feel they all need to be fired. They have been in office far too long." Karen Shelledley says, "Both parties are playing a serious game. It is all about making the other party look bad for votes." Couldn't have said it any better. It's not really a Democrat-Republican thing at this point. It's a bunch of rich politicians playing their political games and using the American people as just pawns in a chess game. So I'm curious, what is your stance with politicians and how they've been acting towards the American people? Have they been helping or hurting? Let me know down in the comments below. So it looks like yesterday Mark Meadows also tried to reach out to Nancy Pelosi for more stimulus negotiations. What he said is, "I will reach out to the speaker. I went by, she was in a meeting, and certainly as Secretary Steve Mnuchin and I, as you know, the secretary reached out a few weeks ago. She made it clear at that point that there was no real need to continue to vote. He then says, but we're taking this vote on the House floor as a real willingness on her part to look at a more targeted solution, and basically says that he spoke to many of his Senate colleagues and they're willing to do a targeted solution. So this is kind of sending mixed messages from Nancy Pelosi, saying that she doesn't want a piecemeal, she only wants to do a full stimulus package. Then Mark Meadows is saying, well, if you want to piecemeal the U.S. Postal Service bill, why not piecemeal some other aspects of the stimulus package, such as stimulus checks, unemployment, anything like that, and then we could focus on other things later. But at this point, Republicans may not even want a $1,200 second stimulus check for the American people anymore, which in my opinion is a bad move for the Republicans with the elections coming up in just a few months, not going for a second stimulus check. So here's the latest with that. Republicans are trying to pass a skinny proposal, which is a lot less than what they had in the HEALS Act. So this is the actual proposal. Nothing was voted on yet, so this is not official, but the name of this bill is called the Delivering Immediate Relief to America's Families, Schools, and Businesses Act. No acronym there, but more specifically what it has in here is liability protections for businesses and healthcare providers for up to 5 years, continued relief for small businesses and workers, so this is the Paycheck Protection Program, public health enhancements, so this is $45 billion going for vaccine and vaccine distribution, and then educational support, this is $105 billion to help out with schools reopening. So this Republican bill comes out to around $500 billion, and at this point we don't know why they pulled back from the $1,200 stimulus check. So if we look here, on the left is the Democrat proposal for stimulus checks, the right is Republican. It would cost $300 billion to have Americans get a one-time payment of $1,200, $500 for dependents as well as adult dependents, and this would cost $300 billion. So in addition to that $500 billion, it would come out to $800 billion, which is still below the $1 trillion price tag which they originally wanted. So to me, I still don't understand why they don't want $1,200 stimulus checks. So I'm curious what you think. Let me know down in the comments below. Why do you think the Republicans originally said they wanted $1,200 stimulus checks? Now they're not having $1,200 stimulus checks. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. So in terms of actually getting a second stimulus check, I want to keep it real with you. We are nowhere close to getting a second stimulus check of $1,200. With Republicans not going for it, Democrats not wanting to pass anything but a big stimulus package, I want to be real with you, we are not anywhere close to getting a second stimulus check. And moving on to unemployment, the states that have been approved to get the lost wage assistance, which is President Trump's executive order, are Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Missouri, Montana, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Utah. And then the newest one that just got approved last night is California. So they got approved for $4.5 billion. Among them, California, there are 18 other states. I'm not going to read these out loud, but if you want to see if your state is included, you could pause the screen right here. Now, the only issue is California is saying that they may only get 3 weeks of unemployment benefits, $300 per week. The reason why, according to the National Employment Law Project, they're saying that this new $44 billion allocation of federal funding from the Disaster Relief Fund will not go far. Between its inception and August 1st, FPUC has paid out nearly $247 billion, even with a reduced federal cost of $300 per claimant per week. This amount will be exhausted within a few weeks of states even getting a system up and running to pay for it. So this is not just for California, but for all the states. It's a first come, first served basis with a limited amount of funds. So whichever state could get their system up and running first is going to get the majority of it. And most likely it'll be a $1,200 retroactive check, because let's say it starts in the beginning of September and it is retroactive from August 1st until whenever the benefits start to get paid out. So most likely, a lot of experts are saying beginning of September. So that means for the states that are just doing the $300 per week, that's a $1,200 retroactive check For states that are doing $400 per week, that's a $1,600 retroactive check, and then they're going to continue to get that $300 per week until the funds run out or until December 6th, but most likely the funds will run out before then. And New York announced that they will apply for the federal funds to help out with the $300 per week. Before, Governor Cuomo was kind of political, saying that he did not want this money because he didn't know if the legalities of it, but the budget director for New York said, as Governor Cuomo has said, politics does not impact policy, especially during a pandemic, and if New Yorkers are in need, this administration will do everything we can to support them. Moving on to rental assistance and hazard pay programs. If you want, I have a free spreadsheet that I put all of the rental assistance programs and hazard pay programs that I find. It's completely free down in the description below the video. But the first rental assistance program we'll go over is in Indiana. So August 26th is when the applications end if you want rental assistance and live in Indiana. And you could, Indiana's providing up to $500 per month for 4 months, so that's up to $2,000 in rental assistance you could get if you live in Indiana. And for South Carolina, scthrive.org, you could get up to $1,500 in a one-time payment if you live in South Carolina and want rental assistance. For Carson, California, they're giving a one-time payment of $1,000 for up to 3 months. And if you want me to look up any rental assistance programs or hazard pay programs in your area, put that down in the comments below and it might feature in a future video, or I'll just add it to that spreadsheet. By the way, that spreadsheet is live, so whatever I add to it, you could just look and it'll be updated on a regular basis. You don't have to continually download it. It's just once you have it and it's connected to the internet, you'll see all of the new entries that I add to it. Next, Los Angeles County is handing out $100 million in rental relief. So people, depending on your income, you could get up to $10,000 or up to $7,500, and the application started August 17th. So if you live in Los Angeles or Los Angeles County, I highly recommend that. It's going to be paid directly to landlords. And then for the hazard pay program, Governor Wolf of Pennsylvania is giving frontline workers hazard pay. So they're going to get a $3 per hour increase for these workers here in these categories: healthcare, food manufacturing, security, transportation, retail. And then for anyone else who's making less than $20 an hour and a frontline worker, you get a one-time payment of $1,200. And if you're looking for a free money opportunity, you can sign up through Webull down in the description below and get 2 free stocks. If you want a 3rd free stock, you can sign up through Robinhood. And if you want to learn about stocks in general and the best ways to invest in the stock market, you could click this video over here. It goes over the 5 beginner tips of how to get started in the stock market. Really simple terms. It's on my second channel, Why Cents. Or if you want more second stimulus check updates, you could click this playlist down over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.